Again, this is a heavy week to talk about this topic that the fact that a lot of attractive men that I personally know may look very good on the outside, the success, they have it all, yet quietly they are broken. And it's not because they are weak, because many men growing up were taught to achieve and not being encouraged to feel, regulate, or reconnect with themselves. And so men, because I've been there as well, I've learned only to build money, status, physique, confidence, social value. In fact, more relationships are being glorified. Yet behind closed doors, only the man who knows. The anxiety grows, the high of dopamine crashes, having many friends, but not quality ones. And sitting with ourselves seems very uncomfortable. Welcome to our podcast today, our Powers of Alignment podcast. Many men who are very attractive from what you see on the outside are not truly confident because they have been taught to train to perform. And today, POA was brought up is not to become more desirable to others, but to find the true completeness and alignment within ourselves to be whole. And this consists of four components of our life, which many people miss the fourth one, which is the most important. Sorry, my eye itchy. Yeah, somebody thinking about me. And I will break down the four components here today, what you may misunderstood about the four components of becoming whole. In fact, it applies to every man out there. Part one, the important part is the mind. The mind of every man. And today, the mind we talk about is not about being smart or intelligent alone. Because the key point is there are many smart, highly smart and intelligent, in fact, even highly qualified men, academically wise, or maybe even in high ranking positions. On the inside, they themselves know that they are still emotionally chaotic because the knowledge itself, having more knowledge, doesn't mean a mind that is clear. Because today, a sharp mind that doesn't know how to rest can still overthink and may even feel that he is smarter than the others, that he can manipulate them. And whereas when the mind is too clever, it tends to seek validation because if it's lost and it is not clear in its own alignment, there will be always moves or maybe even witty conversations to seek validations, laughter, or attention. And this, over time, enforces an unhealthy loop of justification. So, what really is a healthy, aligned mind? Practicing the POA progress. A calm mind, when faced with situations, is clear. It is calm. And when the environment has uncertainty, because we do know, for those who are in a fast-moving work environment or position, there's always negotiation, people, transactions, financial decisions, maybe even some healthy politics. If the mind is aligned with this certainty, it will not be drawn by the environment, whereas it remains clear and able to just pause and not just agree because everybody is doing so. And to be able to distinct the truth versus inflating facts to boost the ego. Here's a personal layer that I want to share because there was a period when I could explain how the market is going. I could facilitate every negotiation, pinpoint the best investment. But somehow internally, I was restless because a mind that thinks the fastest, it is not one that can stay clear when the emotion rises. So distinct ourselves, the healthy mind is not one that is only intelligent, but one that can remain clear and calm, regardless of situations. So let's go to part 2, where this is the part that I personally misunderstood a lot, where the heart, the emotions of the man. Today, the heart itself is not about just pure ambition or desire. And a lot of people may even misunderstood that heart is about romance, about intensity, about wow, never before feelings. But today the heart tells us what is emotional honesty, and to accept ourselves, how we feel is how we feel, and not make it wrong. Because there, when honesty and acceptance arises, courage grow. There's compassion for others. Grief might happen, although that is not the most convenient emotion, but it is real. And as we train our heart to open up and feel everything that is real, the ability to be present is there. And we are able to take honest responsibility for whatever actions or situations that happen with us, especially in relationships with others. So the desire here that eludes from our heart, that doesn't have honest grounding, it becomes a chase of addiction, where the heart constantly chases for feelings that might be pleasurable or might be intense just to feel alive. And again, this creates a cycle where the heart only chases for intense feelings, or might even block out unpleasant ones, just wanting to remain in those pleasurable experiences. And in that kind of state of the heart, it is almost impossible to maintain a healthy relationship or a friendship, because true relationship goes through ups and downs. And that is why a lot of men out there who still caught up in the cycle of chasing new relationship after one another, the novelty of new. So this one failed, I can start again, and I start again. And of course, the feeling of starting again becomes to a point of time of fatigue. And then the man asks themselves, what's wrong with my heart? And the chasing of emotional high is not easily recognized unless we take an honest look and truly spend the time with ourselves in solitude to sit with those emotions that we have been running away for the longest time. For a while, it may feel like emptiness at first. Then again, the layers starts to peel. And once again, we are able to feel fully the full spectrum of life. And on a personal layer, there were moments I myself confused intensity with intimacy. And the key insight here, when the heart is grounded, it doesn't beg or tries to rescue or change situations. And it will not feel less than when situations are not in our favor. So this matured heart here doesn't chase for connection, my dear friends. Once we practice the alignment, we are able to feel and to experience the safety to hold ourselves enough not to feel affected by the outside as much. And of course, every man knows in part 3, the muscles, the body. And here's the key point. Fitness does not equals to health. The anesthetic presentation does not equal to the vitality that we elude from within. Because there are many men who can be fit, having a six packs, go to the gym 6 times a week, be the admiration of others. And you know what? They dress well, look good, and on the outside they have money, they train hard. But they too are human and flesh. Without the first two parts being checked in, and especially the last one, they can still be inflamed, exhausted, having this anxious energy, constantly overstimulated, and still look good on the outside. But they themselves know, because the body itself will store stress. And in the previous topic, we talked about shame, possibly even go deeper into trauma, suppression of uncomfortable emotions, doesn't know where to channel his sexual energy, not it, sorry. And personal note, I once in a while, when I don't regulate the body, I keep going to the gym thinking that the gym itself or just doing more running can help me enlarge my vitality. But then the tension grows and store in the neck, in the shoulders. The anxiety in the morning and late at night still happens. Moments of overstimulation, coping with dopamine crashes. Yeah, and the success is very, very short-lived as well, followed by intense exhaustion. So the deeper truth here, once we are learning on this alignment of the body itself, our flesh, the sleep becomes more quality and restful. Our breathing is not as short, it becomes deeper. The body naturally knows how to regulate and release stress and channel, importantly, our sexual energy consciously, not on areas that we cannot control. And I want to take away with this, your six-pack is good, but without peace, it is still not balanced. Which brings us to the most important part that a lot of men overlook and even neglect. Part 4, our spiritual well-being. And what is this spiritual well-being? It's not about whether you believe in God or regardless of your religion. It is not about, I go to church on Sunday or I hold my joysticks and pray at a temple. It's more than that. It is not about, I want to show up as someone who is spiritual and divine and I know it all, I have this higher calling in my life, but more of your own inner alignment. The truth that you know is out there. A sense of self-consciousness, surrender, and purpose that you know there is something out there, someone out there that is beyond you, yourself, and this body. And this spiritual health that we have, might it be meditation, prayer, or occasional solitude to reconnect with ourselves and allowing our aligned self to connect with a power that is out there guiding us. And it is very clear, okay, whether you believe this part of your life is important or not, you will be able to recognize men out there who are just having it all. The body, the mind, the heart of passion, but yet there's this lack of soul in them. They feel spiritually disconnected, constantly needing to be out there to get, to take. And there's this uneasiness of being still. And we know that these men out there fears one thing the most. It's not a group of audience that he can speak to or perform, but the silence and solitude, because he constantly needs stimulation because of the absence of this spiritual alignment. And on a personal level, the deeper my recovery became, and as I journey with all of you guys, the more I realized that I wasn't lacking success, but I was lacking spiritual alignment. And when the spirit is where a man's, the spirit is where the man no longer feels that he needs to perform. And he truly starts being. And that's where everything is aligned from the be itself before the do and the have. And most people develop these three parts here. My encouragement to you is this: find these four sectors of your life and cultivate them. Because the part, either one that is missing or misunderstood, we will need to use performance or tactics to cover it up. Because end of the day, my dear friends, as we, a community, can support each other on this journey, it is ourselves eventually that we need to face. And when the mind becomes clear, the heart becomes grounded, your body is regulated, and the spirit is aligned, my dear friends, the presence will change naturally, not force, not perform, and there's no more a need to chase for the outcome. With that, give yourself the credit for finishing this podcast and apply what you learned today, and let this be a journey of self-growth.